In New York City, a political earthquake has just happened. A brand new leader is taking charge, and his story sounds like something straight out of a political thriller. He's the son of immigrants, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist, and the city's first ever Muslim mayor. His name is Zoran Mamdani, and his victory is sending shockwaves not just across the United States, but around the whole world. But what if this was more than just politics? What if I told you that half a world away, a blind mystic might have seen this exact moment coming more than 50 years ago? This is the bizarre story of a forgotten prophecy colliding with the stunning rise of an unlikely leader. It's a mystery that has a nation divided and asking big questions about destiny itself. Are we just seeing a wild coincidence, or is a prophecy unfolding right before our eyes? What if the most powerful city on earth was about to be run by a man whose destiny was written before he was even born? Meet Zoran Mamdani, New York's first Muslim mayor. His journey from the son of a Ugandan immigrant to the peak of political power has left the country stunned. But what most people don't know is that his arrival and the chaos that came with it may have been predicted with chilling accuracy by the blind mystic Baba-Vanga. And the things she said would happen are happening now. To really get the tectonic shift that Zoran Mamdani represents, you first have to understand the man. His story isn't your typical political fairy tale. He was born in Kampala, Uganda, to a Ugandan mother of Indian descent and an Indian father. His parents were intellectuals and artists, his mother, the celebrated filmmaker Mira Nair, and his father, the famous academic Mahmoud Mamdani. His name is practically a map of his heritage, Zoran, and his middle name, Kwame, in honor of Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana and a giant of Pan-Africanism. When he was 7, his world was turned upside down. The family moved to New York City, not to a penthouse on the Upper East Side, but to the diverse, buzzing streets of Queens. He was an immigrant kid trying to figure out a new world, and that journey would define his politics. He got into the elite Bronx High School of Science, then earned a degree in Africana Studies from Bowdoin College. But after college, he took a hard left turn. No Wall Street, no corporate law. He went back to the streets of Queens and became a housing counselor, fighting to keep low-income families from being foreclosed on. Day after day, he saw people who looked like him on the verge of losing everything. He battled banks and bureaucracy, an experience he says showed him how the system is rigged. This job, he said, taught him the housing crisis wasn't an accident, but a choice made by people in power. He also became a rapper known as Mr. Cardamom, with lyrics about justice and identity, and a community organizer. In college, he co-founded a chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine, learning that you don't ask for power, you build it from the ground up. Now let's rewind. Half a world away and decades earlier, another story was taking shape. In the tiny town of Petric, Bulgaria, lived a woman named Vangelia Pandeva-Gushtarova, known to the world as Baba-Vanga. Blind since she was a child, Vanga claimed she could see the future. From her small home, she became a legend, the Nostradamus of the Balkans, with everyone from peasants to heads of state seeking her out for predictions. Her followers claim she had an astonishing 85% success rate, a number that's pretty much impossible to prove and almost certainly inflated. They say she foresaw the Chernobyl disaster, Princess Diana's death, and even 9/11, when she supposedly talked about steel birds attacking the American brethren. But you have to take this with a huge grain of salt. A lot of the wilder prophecies you see online have no credible proof from when she was alive. In fact, people close to her have said many of the most famous predictions are just made up. Plenty of her prophecies also flat out failed, like a nuclear war she predicted between 2010 and 2016. But despite the controversy, one set of predictions keeps coming back to haunt people. It's what she said about the future of the West. According to widely shared accounts, Vanga warned of a great Muslim war that would end with an Islamic caliphate in Europe, with Rome as its capital, by the year 2043. For years, these were written off as fantasy. But now, some people are looking at the world and asking a chilling question. Did the first step of that prophecy just happen in New York City? Zohran Mamdani's jump into politics was as unconventional as everything else about him. In 2020, he ran as a proud democratic socialist and challenged the establishment in his own party, beating a 5-term incumbent to win a seat in the New York State Assembly. He was one of the only Muslims to ever serve there. In Albany, he was a loud voice for tenants' rights and made a name for himself by pushing a pilot program to make some city bus routes free. Then, in 2025, he did what everyone thought was impossible. He ran for mayor of New York City. The race was supposed to be a comeback story for former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Mamdani was seen as a radical long shot, but his campaign was a grassroots, social media-driven phenomenon. His team made clever, multilingual videos that reached voters in Spanish, Bangla, and Urdu. He talked about halalflation with street vendors and jumped into the freezing Atlantic Ocean in a full suit just to dramatize his plan to freeze rents. His platform was bold: a citywide rent freeze, city-owned grocery stores to fight price gouging, universal childcare, and a $30 minimum wage, all paid for by taxing corporations and millionaires. The establishment thought he was crazy, but for millions of New Yorkers crushed by the cost of living, he was a savior. He shocked everyone by beating Andrew Cuomo first in the Democratic primary and then again in the general election when Cuomo ran as an independent. On November 4th, 2025, Zohran Mamdani, the son of Ugandan immigrants, was declared the mayor-elect of New York City, its first Muslim and youngest leader in over a century. This is where the story of the New York politician and the Balkan mystic start to tangle. One of Baba-Vanga's lesser-known but more specific prophecies talked about a son of the East, with roots in the ancient land, who would rise to lead a great city in the New World. The prophecy said this leader would come from the people of the book and would create a new order that would unite the poor and divide the powerful. Mamdani's win seems to echo this with spooky accuracy. He is literally a son of the East, born in Uganda with Indian parents. His victory in New York, the ultimate city of the New World, was historic, and as the city's first Muslim mayor, he is from the people of the book, a term often used for followers of Abrahamic faiths like Islam. Is it just a coincidence? Are we just fitting vague language to a current event? It's definitely possible. Son of the East is so broad, it could mean anything. And yet, for people who look for patterns, it feels too specific to ignore. A Muslim leader of South Asian and African heritage taking power in New York City. The description seems to fit Mamdani's unique life story like a key in a lock. It feels like the first thread has been pulled, connecting the past to the present in a way that feels both unbelievable and a little scary. Right after taking office, Mayor Mamdani started building that new order the prophecy seemed to hint at. His first big move was to push for a massive citywide rent freeze. New York had frozen rents on stabilized apartments before, but Mamdani's plan was way bigger, aiming to stop rent hikes for over 1 million households. For tenants, it was a lifeline. For the city's powerful real estate industry, it was a declaration of war. Next, he pushed to make more public transit free, saying that getting around the city is a human right. He rolled out plans for city-owned grocery stores to bring affordable food to poor neighborhoods and started drafting laws for huge tax hikes on corporations and the rich to pay for it all. This wasn't just policy, it was a total shakeup of the city's values. It was a direct attack on the idea that had ruled New York for decades, that private profit comes before public good. Mamdani was building a city for the many, not the few. The city's power brokers, from Wall Street to real estate, were furious. They'd never dealt with a leader who was so openly against their influence. The battle lines were being drawn. Baba-Vanga's prophecy didn't just mention a new order, it warned this new order would divide the powerful and trigger a huge clash of beliefs. After Mamdani's election and his first few moves, New York City became the living embodiment of that division. The reaction was instant and extreme. On one side, progressive activists and unions called him a revolutionary hero who was finally making the city fair. His supporters didn't see his policies as radical, but as common-sense fixes for decades of inequality. On the other side, the city's business and financial elite were in open revolt. Tabloid headlines screamed that he was sending the city back to the crime-ridden 1970s. Financial news channels ran non-stop segments warning that his socialist experiment would crash the economy. They called him a dangerous ideologue who didn't get how money works. The fight wasn't just about money, it was cultural. His identity as a Muslim mayor became a lightning rod. While many saw it as a victory for diversity, a nasty undercurrent of fear and suspicion started bubbling up online and on talk radio. He was painted as a Trojan horse, an outsider with a secret agenda. The prophecy's clash of beliefs was no longer just words, it was the daily news cycle in New York. The city was fractured, torn between two completely different ideas of what its future should be. The chaos wasn't just in New York. Mamdani's lifelong, unapologetic support for Palestinian rights sent tremors across the globe. For decades, being pro-Israel was a non-negotiable rule for any serious New York politician. Mamdani didn't just break that rule, he blew it up. In college, he co-founded a Students for Justice in Palestine chapter and pushed for boycotts of Israeli institutions. As mayor-elect, he didn't back down. He has been a strong supporter of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions (BDS) movement and has called Israel's actions in Gaza genocidal. This shattered a long-standing political taboo and put him in direct conflict with powerful lobbying groups. The backlash was explosive. His opponents accused him of anti-Semitism and of wrecking the city's special relationship with Israel. Pro-Israel groups launched massive campaigns against him, while pro-Palestinian activists rallied to his side. A conflict usually debated at the UN was now playing out on the streets of Brooklyn and Manhattan. It drew a harsh line through the city, the nation, and the world, forcing a painful conversation about justice, identity, and loyalty. For many in Israel, his election felt like a terrifying sign that attitudes in the West were shifting against them. This is where the prophecy gets really dark. Baba-Vanga supposedly said the clash of beliefs would escalate, spilling out of one city to become a great war between civilizations. She predicted it would start with turmoil over the Holy Land and eventually swallow the West. When you connect Mamdani's fierce, pro-Palestinian stance to this final piece of the prophecy, the whole thing becomes deeply unnerving. The global firestorm sparked by his position is exactly the kind of clash of beliefs over the Holy Land that Vanga seemed to describe. His leadership has, intentionally or not, made New York the global epicenter of this debate, amplifying a conflict with the power to destabilize the entire world. Is this all a coincidence, or is something else going on? Did the rise of one man in one city really trigger a chain reaction foretold by a blind mystic? Skepticism is the rational response. Prophecies are vague. It's easy to see patterns that aren't there. And yet, the sheer number of parallels is hard to just brush off. An immigrant son of the East, a Muslim, leading the capital of the New World. A new economic order that divides the rich and powerful. A global political crisis ignited over Palestine. Each thread, by itself, could be explained away. But when you weave them together, they create a picture so detailed, so strangely specific, that it makes even the biggest skeptic stop and wonder. We're living in a moment of huge change and uncertainty, where politics, faith, and identity are all blurring together. What do you think? Is the story of Zohran Mamdani just a political event, driven by the unique chaos of New York City? Or are we witnessing the faint outlines of some bigger, hidden pattern in history? Tell us what you believe in the comments below. And if you think there's more to history than what we see on the surface, subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries shaping our world. The story of Zohran Mamdani is far from over. He's now one of the most transformative and polarizing figures in American politics. To his supporters, he's a visionary leader building a more just world. To his critics, he's a dangerous radical tearing down the world's greatest city. And the connection to Baba-Vanga's prophecies just adds another layer of unnerving mystery to it all. Is he just a man of his time, or is he an agent of destiny, a figure whose arrival was whispered about decades ago? The prophecies may have talked about the rise, but they don't say anything about the fall. Whether Zohran Mamdani's leadership brings a new age of prosperity or a prophesied clash of civilizations is a question only time can answer. The future of New York, and maybe the West, is hanging in the balance. The next chapter is yet to be written.
This book is your beginner's guide to understanding Scripture. Find peace, build relationships, and discover purpose in today's world. Ready to decode the Bible? Find Bible Decoded available on Amazon now.
If this content blesses you and you'd like to support our mission, you can buy me a coffee or give a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create more content to inspire and uplift others. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos.